Hello everyone, welcome to BI Consulting Pro. In this series, you will learn everything you need to know about Power BI admin roles and how to admin Power BI into your organization. Today is the very first episode in which we are going to discuss about understanding Power BI administrator roles. To administer Power BI or for your organization, you should be either Power BI admin or Power BI platform admin or Microsoft 365 global admin. If you have not been assigned to any of these roles, then you cannot control Power BI. That means that you cannot fulfill all the Power BI admin roles and responsibilities. Microsoft 365 User Management Administrators assign users to the Power BI admin or Power BI platform admin roles in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center or by using a PowerShell script. Users in Power BI admin and Power Platform admin roles have full control over organization-wide Power BI settings and administrative features except for licensing. In my previous videos, I have already shown you some of the capabilities of Power BI admin roles. If you are not aware, then I would request you to go and watch all those videos. However, this series would be dedicated for Power BI admin roles and its responsibilities and what kind of features you can access through admin portal. Let's move forward. There are certain limitations and considerations as well while we are going to talk about the understanding of Power BI administrator roles. So you should always keep in your mind the Power BI admin and Power Platform admin roles don't provide these capabilities. That is, first is ability to modify users and licenses within the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Secondly, access to the audit logs. If you would like to access the audit logs, then you should have permission under the Microsoft 365 Global Admin role. And in my upcoming videos, I'll let you know how you can access the audit logs as well. Note: in Power BI documentations, whenever you are going on Microsoft websites and you are reading the Microsoft documentations regarding the Power BI admin roles or Power BI features, Power BI admin refers to users in either the Power BI admin or Power Platform admin roles only. The documentation makes it clear when the Microsoft 365 Global Admin role is required for a task. So always keep this in your mind. Now let's discuss how we can assign a role. The very first is with Microsoft 365 Admin Center and another is using the PowerShell. So you can choose either of these options and you can go ahead with one which you are most comfortable with. Now the very first we are going to discuss with MS365 Admin Center. The very first step is you have to log in into your Microsoft 365 Admin Center and there you have to go to the users on your left hand side panel and then you have to click on the active users. Once you click on the active users, another panel would open on your canvas and then you have to select the users that you want to assign the role to, and under the roles you can click on the manage roles. Once you will click on the manage roles, then there would be another panel would pop up over there on your right hand side and there you can select the roles that you want to assign to that particular user. So these are the three main steps that you need to follow in order to assign a Power BI admin role to a user with MS365 Admin Center. Now let's discuss with PowerShell. In order to assign users the admin role with PowerShell, first you have to connect to your Azure Active Directory. For that you can see the script and I'll also provide you the link of this complete documentation from where you can get it. The second step would be to get the object ID for the Power BI admin role. And for that, what you can do, you can run a command saying get Azure AD directory role and then you will get the object ID. The step number third would be to get the user's object ID. And in order to get the object ID, you have to run another command that would be get Azure AD user. And you can see on the screenshot, once you will run this command, you will get the object ID for that particular user. The last step would be to add the member to the role. Now, For that also we have a particular shell script command that you can use, and which is over here on the screen. You can see add hyphen Azure AD directory role member. Once you will run this, then you have to provide the object ID and reference object ID. Once you are going to provide both of these, then you would be able to add that particular user in the Power BI admin role. Power BI administration is the management of the organization-wide settings that control how Power BI works. Users that are assigned to admin roles configure, monitor, and provision organizational resources. We will have an overview of administration roles, tasks, and tools to help you get started. As you can see on my screen, this is how Power BI admin portal looks like. I have already shown you in my previous videos how to navigate to Power BI admin portal. If you are not familiar about it, then you will see a gearing icon on your Power BI service account on right hand side top corner, and then you have to click on that, and then you can go to admin portal. Once you will click on the admin portal, you will land on this page where you can see admin portal, and there are the different options available for you. Now we are going to discuss about administrator roles related to Power BI. There are several roles that work together to administer Power BI for your organization. Most admin roles are assigned in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center or by using PowerShell. The Power BI Premium Capacity and Power BI Embedded Capacity admin roles are assigned when capacity is created. Now what we are going to do, we are going to have a look what are the different administrator roles available in Power BI, what is their scope, and what are the tasks related to Power BI for those different roles. The very first role is Global Admin. The scope of Global Admin is for Microsoft 365, and if we talk about the Power BI task, this role has unlimited access to all management features for the organization. Also, this role can assign roles to other users. So that is the global admin in Power BI. Now let's talk about the second role, which is billing admin. Its scope is Microsoft 365 only. The admin of this role can manage subscriptions and purchase licenses for other users. Third one is license admin. Scope is same as previous two roles, that is Microsoft 365. And if we talk about the Power BI tasks, then this role can assign or remove licenses for users. Next role is user admin. User admin has the same scope as previous three roles, that is Microsoft 365. If we talk about the Power BI task for this role, then this role can create and manage users and groups. Also, this role can reset user passwords. Next role is Power BI admin. Power BI admin role has its scope for the Power BI service. Under this role, the admin have the full access to Power BI management tasks. He can enable and disable Power BI features, and also he can report on usage and performance. Not only that, Power BI admin can also review and manage auditing. Now let's move further. The next role is Power BI Premium Capacity Admin. Admin of this role has a scope of a single premium capacity. Admin of this role can assign workspaces to the capacity. He can manage user permission to the capacity. Also, admin of this role can manage workloads to configure memory usage and can restart the capacity as well. Next one is Power BI Embedded Capacity Admin. We all know that Power BI Embedded license comes with the Azure, or you can have based on under the Power BI Premium license. So, the scope of this administrative part is a single embedded capacity. And if we talk about the Power BI task that comes under this admin, that is Power BI Embedded Capacity Admin, are assigning workspaces to the capacity, manage user permission to the capacity, manage workload to configure memory usage, and restart the capacity. So tasks for Power BI under this admin part are the same as in Power BI Premium Capacity Admin. So Power BI Premium Capacity Admin and Power BI Embedded Capacity Admin have the similar Power BI task, but they are different in terms of their scope. Power BI Premium Capacity Admin has the scope of a single premium capacity, while Power BI Embedded Capacity Admin has a scope of a single embedded capacity. So always keep these two things in your mind. Now let's consider about the different administrative tasks and tools. So Power BI has a different tools to admin the different part of Power BI, and they are also related to the different tasks as well. Now we are going to discuss each of them. Power BI admins work mostly in the Power BI admin portal. You should, however, be familiar with related tools and admin centers. Now we are going to discuss each of them one by one and will determine which role is required to do task using the tools which we are going to talk about. The very first, the Power BI admin portal. Now we are very much familiar about what is a Power BI admin portal and how to navigate that. So let's talk about the typical task that comes under this part. Under this part, we can do acquire and work with premium capacity. We can also ensure quality of service. We can manage workspaces. We can publish Power BI visuals. Also, we can verify codes used to embedded Power BI in other applications. And lastly, what we can do, we can troubleshoot data access and other issues as well. So there are the different parts that we can manage, and you can also see on my screen that uses metrics, users, audit log, tenant settings, capacity settings, embedded code, organizational visuals, data flow settings, etc. There are many tasks under this admin portal. And we will discuss each of them one by one in my upcoming videos. Second one is Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So a user who has the access of Microsoft 365 Admin Center or who is a Microsoft 365 admin, he or she can manage users and groups. Also, he or she can purchase and assign licenses. And lastly, if somebody has to block users from accessing Power BI, they can also do it. Next administrative task is Microsoft 365 Security and Compliance Center. Under this, we can review and manage auditing. We can classify data and tracking. If there is any data loss prevention policies, we can apply over there. And also, information governance can be managed over here. Next one is Azure Active Directory in the Azure portal. So Azure Active Directory plays a vital role in Power BI admin part. We can invite the guest users using Azure Active Directory, as well as there are other functions as well that we can perform. But mainly it can configure conditional access to Power BI resources and also can provision Power BI embedded capacity. So we can buy Power BI embedded license using Azure Active Directory account. Now we are going to talk about the PowerShell commands. That is PowerShell CMD-LETS. In my previous video also you have seen that how we can use the PowerShell commands to assign any role, to make someone admin, or to perform other tasks, or even for the auditing purpose, we can use them. So CMD-LETS manage workspaces and other aspects of Power BI through scripts. That means we can write the PowerShell scripts and we can control the Power BI admin parts, or the auditing part, or any task related to the Power BI or Azure. Lastly, there is the administrative APIs and SDKs. SDK is the software development kit, and APIs which are going to help you to connect with the different parts of the Power BI or different external or third-party softwares. Under this one, the typical tasks are build custom admin tools. For example, Power BI Desktop can use these APIs to build report based on data related to administration. So that's all guys for today. In today's video, we learned what is Power BI administration, what are the different administrator roles related to Power BI, and also what are administrative tasks and tools. Before going further, in case you encounter any problem or you need to know any solution of your problem, please email us, or you can also submit a form using our website where you can navigate to ask me anything, and then we will try to get back to you ASAP. Now, the very first question comes into our mind: what is usage metrics? Well, usage metrics let you monitor Power BI usage for your organization. It also shows which users and groups in your organization are the most active in Power BI. So by looking at this, you can get to know which user is more active or who all are accessing the reports into your organization. That's how it is very important for you to get to know about the usage metrics. But before going further, you should also note that the first time you access the dashboard, or after you visit again after a long period of not viewing the dashboard, you will likely see a loading screen while we load the dashboard. So you should wait, and once it's going to analyze your all the usage metrics, it's going to get populated. After the dashboard loads, you see two sections of tiles. The very first section includes usage data for individual users, and the second section has similar information for the groups. The very first metrics that you are gonna see is the distinct count of dashboards, reports, and data sets in the user workspace. So you will get to know over here how many dashboards are there, or the number of reports, or the number of data sets. The second one would be the most consumed dashboard by number of users who can access it. For example, you have a dashboard that you shared with 3 users. You also added the dashboard to a content pack that 2 different users connected to. The dashboard's count would be 6, that is 1 plus 3 where you have shared plus 2. So that means 2 different users, 3 dashboards, and plus you, then it would be total count would be 6. So you can see on your screen that most consumed dashboard by users are coming over here. I'll show you everything in my Power BI portal as well later, but let's move forward now. The most popular content. So whenever you are connected to the admin portal, you are under the usage metrics, you will see over there the most popular content users connected to. The content would be anything the users could reach through the get data process, such as SaaS, software as a service content packs, organizational content packs, files, or databases. That is going to look something like you can see on my screen right now, which is a tree chart or tree map, you can say, and here you can see the most popular contents users connected to. So as mentioned to you previously, you would find 2 different sections. One is for the particular users, another would be for the groups. So in each of them, you will find the top users with the most dashboard and top users with the most reports. Similarly, you will find the top groups with the most dashboard and top groups with the most reports. Now let's talk about the control usage metrics. Well, usage metrics reports are a feature that the Power BI or global administrator can turn on or off. Administrators have granular control over which users have access to usage metrics. They are on by default for all users in the organization. Admin can also determine whether content creators can see per user data in the usage metrics. So in our upcoming video, we are gonna more talk about the monitor usage metrics. So I'll show you over there how you can go there, how you can pin them, or how you can create a dashboard out of this. Usage metrics for content creators. So definitely, as I mentioned you earlier, it can be turned on or off by the admin. So you should know how to go into this one. So in order to go for this one, usage metrics for content creators, what you have to do, you have to go to your tenant settings. Under tenant settings, you will go to the audit and usage settings, where you will find the usage metrics for content creators option. And there you can enable or disable it, and then you can apply the changes. After a short while, I'm also gonna show you on my Power BI services so that you can have a feel like how it does work actually. By user data in usage metrics for content creators. Well, this is another option. In the same window, you will go there, you can enable, disable it, or you can also enable it for the entire organization or a specific group. And as it says, usage metrics for content creators will expose display names and email addresses of users who are accessing the content. So please make sure that you really want to do it or you don't want to do it. Now the last part is delete all existing usage metrics content. Now so far what we have seen here that we can create it. Now suppose we have to delete it, then how we are going to do that? For that you will see in my previous slide at the bottom there is an option delete all existing per user data in current usage metrics content. So we can delete it from here as well. When disabling usage metrics for the entire organization, admins can also choose one or both of the options. The number one is delete all existing usage metric content. To delete all existing reports and dashboard styles that were built uses the usage metrics reports and datasets. This option removes all access to usage metrics data for all users in the organization who may already be using it. The second option is delete all existing per user data in current usage metrics content, which I just explained to you, to remove all access to per user data for all users in the organization who may already be using it. However, I'll say be careful because deleting existing usage and per user metrics content is irreversible. That means you cannot recover it back. So delete it once you are 101% sure that you have to delete it. Now we are going to have a look at the demo where I'm going to show you all these options and the metrics, how it's going to appear into your Power BI admin portal. So guys, right now I'm on my Power BI services. I have logged in. You can also log in with your own user account, that is your work or school email address. And once you're going to log in, you will come on this beautiful homepage where you will find all the contents. But our main concern is just to going into the admin portal. For that, on your right hand side on the top bar, you will find this gear icon. Click on this. Once you will click on it, then you have to click again on the admin portal. By default, as you can see, if you are gonna log in it after a long time, it can load your report. It would take some time. And now we are under this admin portal where first option is the usage metrics. Here you can see the first three tiles are gonna show you the number of dashboards, number of reports, and number of data sets. Once you will see this, after this you will get this most consumed dashboard by users and then most consumed packages by users. As I mentioned you in the beginning of this video that you will find two partitions over here. One is by users. You can see top users with most dashboards, top users with most reports. And then you will find by the groups as well, which you can see here, top groups with most dashboards and most consumed dashboards by groups. So that's how it's divided into groups and per user. Now let's go and check the settings, how you can delete all the existing usage metrics content. For that, we have to go to the tenant settings, and under tenant settings, as I mentioned to you previously, you have to scroll down and then you have to go under the audit and usage settings. Audit and usage settings over here, you can see this. Now under this, we have an option of usage metrics for content creators. So which is the middle option. So I'm going to expand this and which is enabled by default. If you want to enable it for a specific security group, you can do it over here. You can start mentioning the email addresses. And if you want someone to exempt from this, you can also mention over here, accept specific group. Now you will get this option over here, delete all existing usage metrics content if you want to delete everything. But if you want to delete the metrics for particular users, so what you can do, you can come over here at the last option. And here, once you're going to click on the specific security group, then you will find this, which is the last option over here. Delete all existing per user data in current usage metrics. So that's how you can delete it from there. Remember this, if you are going to delete it once, you cannot recover it back. So it's irreversible. Delete it only once you are 110% sure. So guys, this was all about the usage metrics that you need to know how you can delete it or how you can apply it for a particular security group or a particular user group or to the whole organization, how you can manage them, how you can read them, what are the different options you are going to get over there. Knowing how your content is being used helps you demonstrate your impact and prioritize your efforts. Your usage metrics may show that one of your reports is used daily by a huge segment of the organization. It may show that nobody is viewing a dashboard you created at all. This type of feedback is invaluable in guiding your work efforts. So, we need it to get to know how many reports are there, who are using them, or what sorts of contents are available over there. If you create reports in modern workspaces, you have access to improved usage metrics reports. They enable you to discover who's using those reports throughout your organization and how they are using them. You can also identify high-level performance issues. The improved usage reports in the modern workspace experience replace the existing usage metrics reports. So now we are going to discuss about this further. What are the prerequisites, how to use them, or what are the different pages are available in the monitor usage metrics in the new workspace experience. So let's get started. So whenever you are trying to use this new workspace experience of usage metrics, there are certain prerequisites. And the very first is that you should have a Power BI Pro or Premium per user license to run and access the usage metrics data. However, the usage metrics features captures usage information from all users regardless of the license they have assigned. The second one is that to access improved usage metrics for a report, the report must reside in a modern workspace and you must have edit access to that report. Lastly, your Power BI admin must have enabled usage metrics for content creators. Your Power BI admin may have also enabled collecting per user data in usage metrics. If you want to read more about this, I'll provide a link in the description section. There you can go and check further documentation by Microsoft. Now, question comes how to create and view and improve usage metrics in the new workspace experience. Well, we are going to explore this in the Power BI service where I have my Power BI Pro license and I can show you how you can access the same. So let's hover to my Power BI service account. So guys, as you can see, we are currently on my Power BI service account, and from here we will go to the usage metrics and we'll see how to explore them. For that, first of all, you have to go to your workspace where you want to explore those usage metrics, and you have to select a workspace. So I'll just click on this one, and there you will find your different contents, whether it's your dashboard or your report. Now let's say I want to explore more about this RLS versus OLS. So I can click on these three dots over here, and there is an option view usage metrics report. You have to click over here. Once you will click, maybe in the initial part it would take some time if you haven't logged in over here for some time, but if you have, then it would appear very soon. And over here at the right hand side top corner you will find new usage report on. So you can switch it off or on, but I'll suggest you keep it switched on so that you can experience all the new experience over here. And also note it over here, which I'm going to explain you later in this video, that you have left hand side this panel named as pages. Here you will get the different pages like report usage, report performance, report list, and some frequently asked questions. So you can get familiarize yourself with all those frequently asked questions, and maybe once you are getting into some problem, you can find them helpful. So guys, over here you should remember that on the top you can see this slider, which I'll highlight over here, new usage report on. If this is the first time you do this, Power BI might open the old usage metrics report. Generally you will see it's off. And once it's off, the layout has been changed completely over here. So might be you haven't switched it on, and that's why you are coming over here and you find it disabled and you are having a look at the classical workspace experience. However, you can switch it on over here to display the improved usage metrics, and now you can see the report performance and everything is over there. Now let's move forward. Now we are going to talk about the improved usage metrics report. When you display this improved usage metrics report, Power BI generates a pre-built report. It contains usage metrics for that content of the last 30 days. The report looks similar to the Power BI reports you are already familiar with. You can slice based on how your end users received access, whether they accessed via the web or mobile app, and so on. It updates every day with the new data. So let me show you how it looks like. I'm generating my new report over here. So now you can see your report has been generated over here. So what you can do, you can just save a copy. You can give it a name of this report. So I'm gonna say usage metrics RLS versus OLS. This is very important, guys, because many of the time we want to see how many users are logged into our report, how many are viewing, how many are sharing that. Those kinds of experience are very important. Now you can just click on the go to report, and once you will click go to report, this report is actually now into your demo workspace. So I can click on this demo workspace over here, and you can see there is a report. This is the new report, and whenever the new data is coming, like more users are logged in into your this report, they are viewing it, they are sharing it, its data is going to get updated automatically. Now you can click on it and you will see the same experience that you are getting out there. Before moving to the next slide, you should remember that usage metrics reports don't show up in recent, workspaces, favorite, or other content list. They can't be added to an app. If you pin a tile from a usage metrics to a dashboard, you can't add that dashboard to an app. So that would be always excluded from the app. Now we are going to discuss about usage metrics report dataset. When you first launch the improved usage metrics report, Power BI automatically creates a usage metrics report dataset. The improved usage metrics report relies on the dataset. Power BI then refreshes this dataset daily. Remember that it's gonna get updated daily. While you can change the refresh schedule, you can update the credential that Power BI uses to refresh the usage metrics data. You may need to resume schedule refresh if the credentials expired or if you removed the user who first launched the usage metrics report from the workspace where the dataset resides. Now we are going to discuss about the usage metrics report pages. So basically there are four main pages in this report, as you can see on the screenshot on my report, and I explained you while I showed you this usage metrics report on my Power BI service. First is the report usage, which provides information about report views and report viewers, such as how many users viewed the report by date. The second one comes the report performance. It shows the typical report opening times broken by consumption methods and browser types. And third one is the report list. And the last one is the frequently asked questions, which provides answers to frequently asked questions such as what is a viewer and what is a view. You can see on the very first we see this report usage, and here I can see reports opens. There are two items: reports page views, one, unique viewers, one, and then there is a distribution among the platform, not specified, powerbi.com. Then there is a distribution, workspaces, then you can see the users who logged in over here and the pages and all. Plus you will find this report performance over here. Under this tab on this page usage metrics, you will see the report name, and then you will see the typical opening time trend, and then you will see this graph, date versus maximum opening time in seconds, and all those. And you can even filter it out based on your selection for how many days it has been loaded and all. And at the bottom of the screens, you will find this report ID as well. If I talk about the report list, it's gonna give you other reports names over here, and the viewers, how many viewers logged in, the percentage, the days, view trends is going up, down, or something like that. So this is gonna be a very important area where you can have a look about all the trends regarding your reports and their usage and how the people are consuming this content. Now let's move forward and see which metrics are reported. So basically there are two kinds of pages available. One is your report page and second one would be your performance one, which is going to show you the report performance. But under this, there are several metrics as I just showed you on my Power BI service account, like report views or report opens. These are the kinds of metrics you are going to find in the report usage page. But if we talk about the report performance page, there are some other metrics like I just showed you again. This type of metrics are typical opening time trend, date slicer, daily performance, 7-day performance, consumption method, and browser. I'll provide you a link in the description section for all this content where you can go, or you can just pause this video and have a look. Now we are going to talk about update usage metrics report credentials. So we are over here on my Power BI account. So what I have to do, first I have to go to the settings part and I have to go to the settings. Under the settings, you will see this dataset tab. I'll come over here. So under the datasets, you will find your dataset and you should be the owner of that dataset. Otherwise, you cannot change the credentials. So over here, I created this usage metrics report and I'm the dataset owner of this one. And here you have to come this under data source credentials. And then you can click on this dataset credentials and you can sign in with your account and then you would be able to use it and this report is going to get updated automatically on the daily basis. That's all you need to do. Now we are going to discuss about disable usage metrics report. So in my last video, I already guys let you know how you can use the usage metrics. After going to the Power BI admin portal, there is the usage metrics portion. There you can go and you can disable the usage metrics is over there, but you should be the Power BI admin to do that. If you don't know, then please check the link in the description section. Watch that video again and you would get to know how to do that. The next part is exclude user information from usage metrics report. This is again the same part of that previous video and you can see on this screenshot as well, you can put the users email addresses in the except specific security groups so that you can exclude them from this metrics. Otherwise, if you don't know about this, you can again go back to my previous video and you can watch that and then you will get to know. Now we can also customize the usage metrics reports. So how to do that? That's the important question. So the very first, you have to make a copy of the report in the Power BI service. And if you don't know how to make a copy of the report, let me show you. So as soon as I'm going to open any of the usage metrics reports, if I want to customize my report, first you have to see your view usage metrics. And once you are there, then you have to click and save a copy. So that's how you're going to make a copy of this report. So we already done this. So let me go back again and I can see this one. So now my report is over here. I can come to the edit part. I can edit it. I can remove it or I can change the visualization. For example, this one, I don't like it. I can change it into some another chart or something like that. So you can customize your usage metrics reports as well. So this is a great feature that you can do over here. Not only this, if you want to create some another report after this one, you can directly connect to that Power BI dataset as well using your Power BI desktop application. And in fact, you can analyze the same in Excel as well. So guys, these were the three main steps that you should remember how to customize the usage metrics report. And if you find any problem or you are not able to do that, please do mention your comments in the comment section. The last part of this video is consideration and limitations. So of course, everything has some limitations as well. I'll provide you a link in the description section for all this content where you can go or you can just pause this video and have a look. If you guys have any question and concern, you know what to do. As you can see, I'm over here in my Power BI service account and first of all we have to navigate to Power BI admin portal, and for that you can come on your right hand side, and on the top ribbon you will see this gearing icon which is saying settings. So click on this and again click on admin portal. This is going to lead you to Power BI admin portal. We have already discussed what are users metrics and how you can go to the classic or the new workspace experiences for the users metrics. Now today we are going to discuss three main topics, that is users, premium per user and audit log. What are these and what you can achieve with the help of these? So stay tuned till the end of this video. The very first is users. Here it's clearly saying manage users, admins and groups in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Go there to view settings and make changes. First of all, you should have Microsoft 365 Admin Center account. If you don't have, you cannot make any change. So make sure you have that access rights and then only you can go for that. So over here, I'm gonna click on this, go to Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Once I'm gonna click, it's gonna reroute you, and if you haven't signed in, it's gonna ask you to sign in. And here you will get multiple options. On the first page only you will get this user management. That means if you want to add any user into Microsoft 365 account, you need to reset the password, you need to edit users, everything is gonna be over here. Plus it's gonna show you billings. If you have purchased any of the Power BI license or any of the other accounts license, that's gonna come over here. On your left hand side you will find few options like home, then you will find users, who are your active users, contacts, guest users or the deleted users. Similarly you will find the groups over here, and then billings. So if you have purchased any of the licenses, then you will get over here. So you can click on licenses, and if I would have any of these are gonna appear over here, and you can see I have these licenses: Power BI Pro, then I have Power BI Free, Microsoft Teams Explorate Free, Microsoft Power Automate Free account, and then Azure Information Protection Premium P1. So I have majorly these licenses, and if I want to export or refresh, I can do over here, and then you will get your billing accounts and other information. If you will click on show all, then you will get couple of other options and then you can use them. However, you should also remember that there are options for the security, compliance and Azure Active Directory. If you would like to use them, you can go over there too. It's gonna reroute you again to the Azure portal. So it would take a couple of seconds, and here you are into your Azure Active Directory. And many of times you guys have asked me, okay, how to use a guest user or how to act on that, because there are multiple companies around the world and there are those companies which are our clients. So we cannot add directly them, or we cannot share Power BI reports directly to them. For that, we have to first add that user as a guest user into our Azure Active Directory, and then we can share our Power BI reports with them. So over here you will get this option, add a guest user. Just click on that. Now you have to fill all the details over here, like the name, his or her email address, then first name, last name, and even you want to put a personal message, you can put it over here, and then you just need to click invite, and then an email is gonna go to that particular user. So this is for the invitation, but you can also create a user over here and you can make the domain as well. So that's how you can do that. If you have any more question on this, please let me know. I'm also going to make a separate video how to add a guest user so that you can share your Power BI reports or dashboards with other companies too. If you are following my channel, I have created a couple of videos on sensitivity labels that comes under the part of data protection or the security. So you can click on this, and once you will click on security, you will come into this new portal, and here under classification you will find sensitivity label or retention labels. So those you can manage over there. We have seen what are the options over here, what are the different activities you can perform over here. I'll request you to explore all these options, and if you have any more questions, you can ask me in the comment section of this video, or you can also email us on our email address, that is connect@biconsultingpro.com. Now let's get back to the Power BI service. So this was the first one that we just discussed, that is the users. Now there is another one, premium per user. While creating videos on premium workspaces as well as XML endpoint connectivity, I already discussed this but here I'm gonna discuss it once more. Basically, this is gonna allow us how you are gonna handle your premium workspaces. Here you will get the very first is the auto refresh option. You can set the timings according to this: hours, days, months, week. Even you want to refresh your reports or dashboards into your premium workspace every hour, that also you can mention, or the minutes you can mention over there. Then there is a change detection measure. So you can also set this on or off, and timing as well. And the last but the most important one is dataset workload settings. As I explained in my XMLA endpoint connectivity video, that you can switch it off, read only or read and write based on your requirement, and then based on that you can connect your dataset directly to your SQL Server Management Studio or any third-party tool, and then you can perform the operations of read and write. If you want to update your dataset or you want to make any changes in your dataset through SQL Server Management Studio, then you should make it read and write. Otherwise you can off it or you can read only, depends on your requirement. That's all. Now, the last part of this video is audit settings. In all organization, audit is the most important task that has to be done. And in Power BI also, we can do the auditing. That means how many users are there, how many users are using your report, what are the data sets, what are the usernames that have the access on that particular report. Those sort of questions and answers you will get in this part. And there is also automation process with the help of which you can directly upload your all the audit logs into Microsoft Azure blob storage or data lake, and from there you can directly create your reports into your Power BI. Definitely I'm gonna make a video on that too, but later. First let's cover this one, what you will get over there. The very first you have to go to this Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Once you will go, you will see some of the messages over here, and the very first message that I can see is that to use this feature, turn on auditing so we can start recording user and admin activity in your organization. So if you are coming over here for the very first time, you have to turn it on, and I can see this option. I'm gonna make turn it on. So now it's gonna turn it on. It can take a few seconds and then it's gonna be ready. Now as you can see, it's giving me a message: sorry, we couldn't update your organization settings for now, but we will retry it in background. Please check back later. So it can be done at the background, so no need to worry about that. So let's explore the other settings, but please make sure that you have turned on auditing settings. In the search, you can provide what kind of activities you are looking for. There are many activities and it's a huge list, which you can see over here on my screen. So you can select whichever you want. Then you can give your start date and end date. And even you can classify your username for which user you need this. And there are a couple of other options. If you want to create a new policy, then you can do that. Just click on this, then new audit retention policies and all. So overall, what we can do over here, we can get a lot of information from our audit logs, and that's gonna be very important when somebody or your manager is going to ask you who are all the users, where we are consuming the most reports, or tell me the name of the users who are active on a particular workspace. So all those kinds of information you can find from the audit log. So just a recap. First, we discussed the users, how you can add the users, what are the different options available on the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. You can add a group, you can add a guest user, or even you can add the individual users. You can edit them or you can modify them. Then we discussed about the premium per user. What are the different options are available over here, how you can enable read and write for the premium workspaces, and then you can use XMLA endpoint connectivity to update, refresh, or edit your Power BI dataset. And lastly, we discussed about the audit logs. Before proceeding further, we should know what is a tenant. Basically, a tenant is a group of users who share a common access with specific privileges to the software instance. Now, probably there would be a question in your mind: what is an instance? Well, guys, an instance is a single copy of the software running on a single physical or virtual server. If you run two copies of the software on the same physical or virtual server, that counts as two instances. So basically it should be taken care by the DBAs who maintains those servers and the different instances. And over here in Power BI, an instance means the part that you are using. That means the domain in which you are working, that is known as your tenant. Let's move forward. Now there are 18 types of different settings under tenant part. That means whenever you would navigate to Power BI admin portal under the tenant settings, you would find 18 types of different tenant settings, which you can see on my screen. In today's video, we are going to discuss each of them one by one. But before going into this, you should know that tenant settings enable fine-grained control over the features that are made available to your organization. If you have concerns around sensitive data, some of the features may not be right for your organization, or you may only want a particular feature to be available to a specific group. So all those kinds of settings you can maintain under tenant settings on Power BI admin portal. But before doing anything, you should also remember that tenant settings that control the availability of features in the Power BI user interface can help to establish governance policies, but they are not a security measure. For example, the export data setting doesn't restrict the permission of a Power BI user on a data set. Power BI users with read access to a dataset have the permission to query this dataset and might be able to persist the result without using the export data feature in the Power BI user interface. Also, keep in your mind that it can take up to 15 minutes for a setting change to take effect for everyone in your organization. Now, you should know that there are basically 4 different kinds of settings we are gonna see in today's video in almost under all the settings. The very first is disabled for the entire organization. That means no one in your organization can use this feature and we can just simply toggle the switch to disabled. Second one is enabled for the entire organization. That means once you are gonna toggle it and making it enable, everyone in your organization can use this feature. Third one is enable for a subset of the organization. That means if you want to enable it for certain users, then you can do that. And lastly, you can use a combination of both. Now let's head over to the Power BI service where we are going to open the Power BI portal. And in the Power BI portal, we are going to see each and every settings that are present over there under tenant settings part. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. As you can see that I'm on my Power BI service account, and over here as usual we are going to click on this settings gear icon. Once you will click on this, there is an admin portal option available over here. We are going to click on this, and as you can see all the settings are available under this admin portal panel, and here we are going to click on tenant settings. The very first settings comes over here is help and support settings. In this one, you will find the different settings over here and which we can enable, disable, or we can use the combination of both as we just discussed a couple of minutes back. Now, the very first is publish get help information. So over here you will see currently it's disabled, but if you want to enable it, you can just enable. And over here, whenever somebody is seeking some help, you can mention the different URLs over here. For example, in your organization, if you have already on SharePoint or somewhere else, some documentation, you can mention URL over here, then discussion form, as well as licensing requirement or the request. For example, in your organization, somebody new is coming into your team and he has to start work on Power BI, but he doesn't have any license as of now. So generally what happens in big organizations, they already have a document placed on the LAN, that means on your SharePoint or at some other location, where they just need to update their details, and that request is gonna go to the admins, and where they are going to grant him the access or they are going to assign him Power BI license over there. So all those informations you can mention over here. You can either go for the entire organization or a specific security group, or even you can mention the except. That means you can use the combination of these two over here. So that's how we are going to maintain all the settings under the publish get information part. Second one is receive email notification for service outages or incidents. And here again, you can do this enable or disable. Basically, it's saying over here, mail enabled security groups will receive email notification if this tenant is impacted by a service outage or incident. In Power BI, generally, whenever there is a lot of load or any incident is happening, then Power BI can send you automatically an email into your email box where you can find what is going on, or is there any outage or any incident occur because of which there is an impact on your Power BI dashboards or reports. Now, the third one is allow users to try Power BI paid features. This one is very important because generally we get the free license, and over here it's saying that users in this organization can get a free individual trial for upgraded Power BI features to try Power BI Pro and Power BI Premium per user features for 60 days. If this is disabled, then nobody can sign up or upgrade to a free license by themselves. If you want them to upgrade themselves, then you have to enable this feature. Otherwise, keep it disabled. They can request you, and then you can assign, or your Microsoft 365 Admin Center account can assign them the different kinds of licenses based on the requirement. Last one over here is show a custom message before publishing a report. This one is very important. Whenever we are working on Power BI reports, we generally just directly deploy the reports without even thinking what's gonna be the impact of these reports on the existing reports. So in that case, this message is very important, and I always like to insist on this point that you should have a custom message, so that whenever a user is publishing any report, they get this message, okay, these were the checkpoints. That means, did you check all those validation points before publishing the report or not? Or did you consult, or did you send that for review or not? So you can mention everything over here. Again, you can use the different combination to whom you would like to. Now we are going to discuss about workspace settings. Under the workspace settings, the very first comes create workspaces. That means, are you going to allow everyone who is having the access to Power BI to create workspaces, or you are going to limit that access? So please do check this one in your case. Second one is use datasets across workspaces. Whether you want to use those datasets across your all workspaces or not, here you can control that. Users in the organization can use datasets across workspaces if they have the required build permission, but you can stop it over here as well. So it depends on what kind of policies your organization wants to maintain. And the last one is block classic workspace creation. So basically, the older version of the workspaces is considered as the classic workspace, but I would request you to just block it because there are certain features that you cannot use. Now we are going to move forward and we are going to discuss about information protection. Well guys, this is very important part. If you have watched my video on sensitivity labels, or if you have attended any of my web seminars, which generally I present with the different guides throughout the world, you should know what are the sensitivity labels and how they can be very helpful for your organization. And in that one, I have explained all of these settings. So please do watch those videos. I'll provide you the link in the description section as well. The very first is allow users to apply sensitivity labels for your BI content. Again, you will get the different settings. And if you are using the first time, you may need to set up your sensitivity labels, which you can do in M365 Compliance Center. Click on this and it would take you over there. But before applying that, they should be created in M365 Compliance Center, and also you should have a license for the information protection that we generally have through the Azure account. Now, second one is apply sensitivity labels from data source to their data in the Power BI. Again, you have these settings. similar to the other settings you can apply, and you can read more about over here, learn about supported data sources, and you will get to know which data sources are being supported by sensitivity labels. Third one is automatically apply sensitivity labels to downstream content. So whether you want to enable or disable, it's totally up to you. Then we have allow workspace admins to override automatically applied sensitivity labels. It's in preview. Please note that some of these features are in preview. They are not generally available. Maybe after some time they are gonna be generally available. Then you can use them permanently. But under preview means they can or they cannot be generally available. Under this, it's saying with this setting enabled, Workspace admin can change or remove sensitivity labels that were applied automatically by Power BI. For example, as a result of label inheritance. So what is label inheritance? Basically, it works like if there is a sensitivity label on your data set and then you are creating a report based on that data set to another one, then automatically that sensitivity label would be applied into your new report as well. Lastly, there is another setting that is restrict content with protected labels from being shared via link with everyone in your organization. Again, you can make it enable or disable, it's completely up to your requirements. Now we are going to discuss some of the most important tenant settings over here in Power BI, that is export and sharing settings. Generally, whenever we are working on Power BI reports, we have to share the reports with some other users into our organization, or maybe in some cases, we have to share them with the outside organization vendors or the clients. Also, sometimes we need to download or analyze those data as well from Power BI datasets. So in that case, these settings are going to be very helpful. The very first is allow Azure Active Directory guest users to access Power BI. Many of you have asked me so many times how to add a guest user, how to share a report with some of your clients who's not on your tenants, that means not in your domain or in your organization, how to do that. So this is the setting is gonna be very helpful over there. If it's enabled, then you can add them into your Azure Active Directory as a guest user. And once you are gonna add them, after that you can directly share reports with the other users who are outside your organization but has been added using AD Azure Directory into your account as a guest user. Second one is invite external users to your organization. It should be enabled if you really want to invite them to your organization. You can directly share with them. They will receive an email link, and once they are going to click on it, you will get a request, and then you have to add them into your Azure Active Directory. Third one is allow Azure Active Directory guest users to edit and manage content in the organization. It's simple from its statement itself. Rest you can read it over here. Next one is show Azure Active Directory guest list of suggested people. It's up to you whether you want to enable or disable. Publish to web. This is another very important setting over here. Because in some of the cases we don't have any sensitive data and we want to share it with the external users. This time you can use this and you have to enable it, but make sure you are not going to publish any sensitive data on those reports. Reason being, once you are going to publish on web, any guys around the world who has the link of your report can access your report without any restrictions. And now there is another setting which is copy and paste visuals. I'll request you to just enable it. Reason being, whenever we are creating multiple reports, we have to copy visuals from one report to another. And sometimes we have to create a new report based on the old reports as well. Then it's going to be very helpful for you. Export to Excel, you can make it enable because in Excel we can apply the sensitivity labels and we can analyze data in Excel. That's very important for almost all the organization, but at last depends on whatever your organization policies are saying. So make sure you adhere to those policies. Export to CSV. In my case, I'll suggest you please do not enable it. The very first reason is that you cannot protect your data in CSV file. Till now, Microsoft hasn't come up with a solution that we can apply the sensitivity labels to CSV files. Download reports, I'll say you should enable it because many of the cases people needs to download the reports from the portal. But again, you can mention either a specific group or you can remove some of the guest users. Depends on your own requirements. So please make sure whether you are going to enable it or disable it, but it should be based on the company policy. Allow live connection. You can enable it, disable it, but basically it's for the Users in the organization can use the Power BI Service Live Connect. This includes analyzing Excel. So you can directly download the Excel files like over there in the data sets or in the reports you will find an option analyze in Excel that is basically connected using live connection with your data set. And then people using Excel file can directly analyze the data using Power Pivot over there and they can help themselves. Export report as Power BI presentation and or PDF document. Basically, whenever you are on Power BI service, you have the option whether you want to download it or you want to get it in PowerPoint or in PDF format. It's gonna be maintained from this setting. Next, we have the settings for export reports as HTML document. You can enable disable, again up to you. Then there is another settings for Word document. You can also enable or disable, up to you. Then we have export reports as XML documents. So whether you want to enable or disable, it's up to the requirements that you are working on. And you have to make sure you adhere to the company policies. Export reports as image files. It's currently in preview. But you have to read that users in the organization can use the export report to file API to export reports as image files. So make sure you read this completely before making this setting enable. Then similarly, we have print dashboard and report whether you are going to allow to the users to print the dashboards or reports or not. It's also should be according to the policies set up by your organization. Next is the certification. My tenant settings, it's currently enabled for everyone. It's going to allow users in this organization to certify datasets, data flows, reports, and apps. In my previous videos, I have mentioned already how you can certify your datasets, reports, or how you can promote them or how you can endorse them. So all these settings is going to mention by this one. So you have to enable it. Then there are certain other settings like email subscription, featured content, allow connections to the feature tables, or enable Microsoft Team integration to the Power BI service, and lastly, allow shareable links to grant access to everyone in your organization. So these are the couple of settings that you need to go through, and whenever you are enabling or disabling any of those settings, please make sure that you have all the information regarding the company policy and you discuss with your lead or any of the guy who's senior to you, and then only enable or disable these policies based on those requirements in the facts. Now guys, we are going to discuss about the discovery settings. Let's see what are the discovery settings. The very first is make promoted content discoverable. That means whenever you have endorsed your content and you have promoted it, promoted content doesn't mean that it has been certified. So whenever you have promoted your content, if you want everyone to see in your organization or a specific group should not have a look into that one, then you can make those settings over here. Second one is make certified content discoverable. Again, it's a similar. First, you have to actually promote your content, whether it's a report, data set, data flows, etc. Then after that, once it's going to promote it, then there would be a guy in your organization or there would be a person who is going to make it certified. Generally, it's the admin or the person who's your architect or someone who has that authority. They are going to make it as a certified one. So once you're gonna promote it, after that if it's good to go, then they can make it certified, and then the similar settings you can apply over here. And lastly, discover content. If you want everyone to see in your organization or a specific group should not have a look into this content, then you can do those settings over here. Next one is content pack and app settings. So we all know that there are so many content pack and apps are available in Power BI. For example, LinkedIn, YouTube, or even Google Analytics. You can use them, you can connect with your data, and then you can start working on that. So those settings are available over here. So let's see one by one what are these settings. One is publish content packs and apps to the entire organization. So whenever you are creating a Power BI app, whether you want to publish it for the entire organization or to a certain group, or you want to exclude a certain group, you can make all those settings in this first part. Second, create template organization content packs. Whether you want to enable or disable, it's up to you. Then you can do it over here. And lastly, push app to end users. In this one, users can share app directly with end users without requiring installation from the app source. That means once you are gonna create any app in Power BI, your end user or the user with whom you are sharing that app, they don't need to install it manually. It's gonna automatically install into their Power BI service account. Once they are gonna go to their apps, they can find it over there. Now we are going to talk about the integration settings. Some of the settings are very important, and we are going to talk over here about the XML settings as well. I have already created a video on XML endpoints connectivity. If you would like to have a look, you will find the link in the description section and somewhere above. So please make sure you go and check that video too. First is allow XML endpoint and analyze in Excel with on-premise dataset. If you want to enable it, you can do it. If you don't want, then don't do it. Then use ArcGIS maps for Power BI. So it's another map provided by ArcGIS company. So whether you want to allow it or not, it's up to you. Use global search for Power BI. Again, enable for the entire organization or not, but please make sure you click on this learn more button and you read about it. What is it and what are the complications or what can be the limitation for this one. Snowflake SSO. This enable SSO compatibility for Snowflake. By enabling user access token information including name and email will be sent to Snowflake for authentication. If you would like to learn more, please learn more, but please make sure what you are going to do over here. I haven't used it, to be honest, but if you are using Snowflake connectivity, then probably you are going to need it. Use Azure Maps visual. So this was the another visual. I already created a video on this. You can find the link in the description section, as well as you can go on our YouTube channel and check the other videos. But it's up to you whether you want to use it or not. If you really like it, you can use it, and then you have to enable this setting over here. And lastly, integration with SharePoint and Microsoft List. This is a very unique feature, and if you would like to use it, please enable this. Because of these settings, users in the organization can launch Power BI from SharePoint list and Microsoft list. That means from the SharePoint itself, you can create your Power BI report based on those SharePoint lists, and then you can connect with your Power BI service account as well. Now let's talk about the next setting, that is the Power BI visuals. So here, the first setting is this: allow visuals created using the Power BI SDK. If you want to use the software development kit, then you can use this option. And second is add and use certified visuals only. That means if it's enabled, you cannot use uncertified Power BI visuals. Whenever we are going to get some of the visuals, that is the custom visuals from Microsoft or Visual Gallery or the app source account, then you have to make sure that's the certified visual. If it's a not certified one, then it's gonna block it automatically. And I reckon on this point that you should enable it. Now, many of you are using R and Python language to create certain scripts and the visualizations, and we can definitely use them in Power BI. But if you really want to use them, then you have to enable this feature over here, which is going to help you to interact with and share R and Python visuals. Users in the organization can interact with and share visuals created with R or Python scripts. So make sure you enable it. Now we're going to discuss about audit and usage settings. Under this, the very first is create audit logs for internal activity, auditing and compliance. You have to enable it. Currently, you can see that I cannot even disable it. Only in Office 365 admin portal you can control this setting. Lately, I was working on a video and there I enabled it. I believe in my last video, I enabled it from my Office 365 admin portal, and it's being enabled now, and you cannot disable it from here. So you have to control it from there only. Now, another is usage metrics for content creators, and then there is a per user data and usage metrics for content creators. We already discussed these settings in our previous video. So if you haven't watched that video, please go and watch that video again. In the dashboard settings, the very first option is web content on dashboard tiles. So whether you want to enable web content on your dashboard tiles or not, it's up to you, but it's going to help you to get the web data into your dashboards. Users in the organization can add and view web content tiles on Power BI dashboards. Note, this may expose your organization to security risk via malicious web content. And second is the data classification for dashboard. This is very important one because in my one of the previous video I already mentioned what is the classification for the dashboards. So whenever somebody is looking at the dashboard, they can get to know whether it's a financial dashboard, it's a management dashboard, or it's just a public data. So we can do this classification of different dashboards and reports as well. Now there are some other developer settings, like when we want to embed or we want to create embedded reports in Power BI, then we have to use these one. So you have to go one by one each of them. If you are creating any of the reports that you are going to embed into any other application, so please make sure you enable or disable based on your own requirements, and you can come over here and you can read more about this one. Now there is an admin API settings. Allow service principal to use read-only Power BI admin APIs, which is currently in preview. And if you want to read more about it, you can come over here and you can read everything. But basically it's related to API. Whenever we are creating any third-party application, then we can use it. Data flow settings. Create and use data flows. Whether you are going to allow your users in your organization to create a data flow or not, you can enable or disable these settings from here. The very first is publish template apps. So whether you're going to allow or not, it's up to you. You have to enable or disable this from here. Second is the installation one. That's also similarly whether you are going to allow your users to install template apps or not. It's up to you. You can control it over here. And lastly, install template apps not listed in the app source. That means from somewhere else somebody is gonna install it and it's not certified one. So you can also enable or disable this, but I'll strongly suggest you should disable it. Now there is a Q&A settings, which is the review question. It should be enabled so that whenever somebody is trying to get some information from your dashboards or the reports and they are not able to find it, so it would come under the review section and where you can go and you can manage that. So please make it enable. Data security settings, which is basically going to say block, republish and disable package refresh. So you can enable or disable. Again, it's up to your organization policy. Now we have advanced networking settings. The very first is Azure private link. It's going to increase security by allowing people to use a private link to access your Power BI content. Someone will need to finish the setup process in Azure. If that's not you, grant permission to the right person or the group by entering their email. So basically it's a security layer that you can use it, and it's an advanced networking process. So if you want to enable it, you can do it, and you can learn more after clicking over here, or even you can check the setup instructions. Second one is block public internet access. So if you don't want anyone to log in from any of the web and login into your Power BI and looking into your report, then you can block it from here. Otherwise, you can allow them, but you can set up the other security method like the multi-factor authentication. And lastly, there is a goal setting. So this is a new feature in Power BI which came just I think last month after the Microsoft Summit, and this goal settings is very important. It's gonna say create and use goals. Users in the organization can create and use their goals like the KPIs. You can enable or disable, again up to your organization policy, but always remember that this is currently in preview. It's not generally available. So guys, these were all the settings under tenant settings, and if you have any question regarding any of those settings, please mention it in the comment section and I will try to get back to you ASAP. The very first is the capacity settings. In Power BI, we have two types of capacity settings, that is Power BI Premium and Power BI Embedded. The Power BI Premium tab enables you to manage any Power BI capacities, that is EM or P SKUs, that have been purchased for your organization. All users within your organization can see the Power BI Premium tab, but they only see contents within it if they are assigned as either a capacity admin or a user that has assignment permissions. If a user does not have any permissions, the following message is gonna appear. The second one is Power BI Embedded. The Power BI Embedded tab enables you to view your Power BI Embedded ASQs, capacities that you have purchased for your customer. Since you can only purchase ASQs for Azure, you manage embedded capacities in Azure from the Azure portal. So if you would like to buy some more Power BI embedded capacities, then you have to head over to your Azure portal and from there you can buy it. If you would like to know more, then I'll provide you a link in the description section, so don't forget to check it out. Next one is the embedded codes. As an administrator, you can view the embedded codes that are generated for your tenant to share reports publicly. You can also revoke or delete those codes. As you can see on my screenshot, this is just one of the examples. After that, we are going to discuss some of the organizational visuals. So many organizations nowadays can build their own custom visuals, as well as you can download from the Microsoft App Source as a file, and then later on you can upload them to your organization Power BI portal, where your admin can manage those visuals. All the Power BI Visuals admin settings, including Power BI Visual Tenant settings, we have already described in Manage Power BI Visuals admin settings. Now let's talk about Azure connections. Well, there are two kinds of connections available over here. Number one is tenant level storage, which is in preview, and the second one is also in preview, that is workspace level storage permissions. For tenant level storage, by default, data used with Power BI is stored in internal storage provided by Power BI. With the integration of data flows and Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 or ADLS Gen 2, you can store your data flows in your organization's Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 account. If you would like to know more, I'll provide you a link in the description section. Overall, you should know that now you can store all the contents which you are going to build on data flows directly into Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So you don't need to depend on just the Power BI capacity. If you have the Azure connections or the Azure capacity subscription, then you can directly store over there. The second one is workspace level storage permissions. It's also in preview currently. Maybe later it's gonna be generally available. By default, workspace admin can connect their own storage account. This preview feature lets Power BI administrator turn on a setting that allows workspace admin to connect their own storage account. So we can directly connect to our own storage account with the help of this setting. To activate this feature, we have to go to admin portal, and there is a Azure connections, and then we can find another setting which is connect to Azure resources, and I'm gonna show you in a while we are gonna do the demo. So let's hold on to that one as of now. Next, we are gonna discuss about workspaces. We all know what are the workspaces in Power BI. Those are like the containers where we are going to publish our reports and consuming the data which we have published to Microsoft Power BI service. As an administrator, you can view the workspaces that exist in your organization on the Workspaces tab. So on Power BI admin portal, you will find this option which I'm going to show you very soon. So you can manage all the workspaces over there. And over there, you can perform these actions which you are looking on your screen. That is, you can refresh the list of workspaces and their details. You can also export the data about the workspaces to a CSV file. Not only that, you can see the details about a workspace, including its ID, its users, their roles, dashboards, reports, and dataset names. Also, you can edit the list of the people who have the access. That means you can revoke the access, you can grant the access. Plus, you can edit the name and description of the fields. And last but not least, you can upgrade classic workspaces to the new workspace experience as well. So as an admin, you have a lot of rights, so you can manage your workspaces over here. Over there, you will also find some of the statuses, which is active, orphan, deleted, or removing, which we are going to discuss over there once we would go for a demo. Now let's discuss about the custom branding. What is a custom branding in Power BI? Basically, on your Power BI service, you can use your own organization logo as well as banner as well over there. But for that, you have to fulfill certain conditions. For example, what you are looking on your screen right now, there is a particular size for that logo as well as the number of pixels it should be. So you can upload a logo, you can upload a cover image, as well as you can define your theme color, and which we are gonna have a look very soon. Next one is the protection metrics. I have made a specific and separate video on protection metrics. What are these? Basically, in your organization, in order to protect your data, you apply certain sensitivity levels on your reports, dashboards, data flows, as well as data sets. And this is gonna give you all the information about that. How many sensitivity levels do you have in your organization, and how many reports and dashboards or data sets or data flows are using them. So I'll provide you a link in the description. Please do watch that video. It's gonna be very helpful and it's gonna help you to protect your data against unauthorized access. Lastly, we are gonna discuss about manage featured content. As a Power BI admin, you can manage all the reports, dashboards, and apps that have been promoted to the featured section on Power BI Home across your organization. In the admin portal, we can select featured content where you can see an overview of who featured the content, where it was featured, and all its relevant metadata. If something looks suspicious or you want to clean up the featured section, you can delete promoted content as needed. So now we are gonna head over to our Power BI service where we are gonna explore all these settings one by one. So guys, this is my Power BI service account, and here as usual we have to click on this gearing icon. Over there you will find this admin portal. Just click on it. Before this session we have already discussed other settings, but today we are going to start with the capacity settings. Once you will click on it, it would take a couple of seconds to load, and then you will find there are two options, that is Power BI Premium and Power BI Embedded. Right now, we don't have any Power BI Premium account over here. We haven't created any Power BI Premium workspaces, so we are not gonna get anything. But if you would like to purchase, you can just click on this purchase button and it's gonna reroute you and it's gonna ask you to log in, where you can purchase your Power BI Premium capacities. So I'm not gonna go over there. Let's close this one. The second one is Power BI Embedded. Here you will see there is a message, develop apps with analytics inside. Try Power BI Embedded for your analytics solution. A single API in a familiar environment on an open and extensible platform. So if you would like to learn more, you can just click. Also, if you have Power BI Premium, so like over here, you will see Demo Premium Workspace, which I created previously with my another account. Basically, you will get a refresh summary over here, like when it was last refreshed, what was its durations, what was the outcome, etc. So you can get all those information over here. Also, you can select the number of pages you would like to see. Suppose you have a lot of premium workspaces, so you can select the number of pages as per your requirement. Next is the embedded code. So suppose you are working on some of the embedded Power BI embedded reports and you have certain codes. So you can manage all those codes over here. You can delete, you can remove, etc. as I explained to you previously. Now let's talk about organizational visuals. So organizational visuals is a very important factor over here in order to manage the visualizations into your Power BI desktop or into your organization. If you would like to learn more about this, you can just click on this learn more and you will get all the details over here. What are the organizational visuals, how you can add, like you can add from a file or from the app source, and then some of the other details you will get over here. You can directly connect with your on Power BI app source, and there you will find all those visuals and you can directly add them. For example, I need this word cloud, I can just click on this and it would take some time, and now you can see this visualization is certified one and it has been added. So other users in my organization can use this visual over here. Now let's move forward and discuss about Azure connections. As I explained to you previously, there are two types of connect to Azure resources are available. One is tenant level storage. If I would like to connect to with my own data storage, that is Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. I can do that over here, but for that I need to connect to my Azure. It would ask for the permissions if I haven't signed in, and then I can select the subscription. So you can see I have this subscription, and then I have to select the resources and other information. But as you can see right now, I don't have access to Azure storage account. So it's going to say ask the person who manages Azure subscription in your organization to add you to the storage blob data owner or contributor role. Otherwise you cannot. So this is one of the very important factor. You can only add this. First, you should be the admin in Power BI. Secondly, you should be the owner or contributor role for the Azure storage account. Otherwise you cannot. Second one is workspace level storage permissions, which is saying allow workspace admins to connect to their own storage account. So if you have your own storage account, you can connect with that. But right now I don't have, so on this option is not appearing over here. I cannot use it. I'm gonna cancel this as of now, and we are gonna move to the next one, which is workspaces. As I explained to you earlier, in the workspaces tab, you will get all the workspaces name that you have created with your own account, and here you can manage them easily. You can even export all the data in the CSV file, which is over here. Now I have downloaded it, and if you would like to see that, you can just open the file and you would be able to look into all the information. For example, if I'll just open it, it would take some time. And here you can see that this file has all the data that you are looking for. What is your workspace ID, what is the name, state, and the other fields over there. So this is the same information we are getting on the portal, but if you would like to analyze it or you want to use it somewhere else, then you can export it. Now coming back over here, I already discussed there are the different states like active, abandoned, deleted, etc. You will get all those over here. But if you would like to manage those workspaces, you can manage as well. For example, this workspace, you can see if I'll select this, I'll get this access. If I would like to manage it, I would like to remove it, or I want to make it member, contributor, etc. I can do that. If I would like to add any more user into this one, I can manage it over here. Secondly, you can also see this capacity icon, which is the premium one. Right now you can see it's a premium capacity and using premium per user reserved. If you would like to off, you can do that over here too. You just need to toggle this button over here and save this, but I'm not gonna do that right now. So capacity name is gonna be for the based on capacity, whether I have Power BI Premium or Power BI Premium per user license. Next, there are certain other pages as well. These all are my workspaces that I have created, and depends on your requirement. You can select whether items per page you want to see 5, 10, 25 or 100. Now let's come to the custom branding. As I explained to you earlier, custom branding is basically you want to make this page as per your organization needs, whether you want to add a logo or a cover image or you want to change the color. So let's start with the logo. If I would like to add a logo, then you can see my first logo is there. I can open it and my logo has been uploaded, but you have to adhere with this guideline. For the best results, upload a logo that's saved as a PNG file, 10 KB or smaller, or at least 200 into 30 pixels. Same is for the banner. They are saying your file size cannot be more than 1 MB and its resolution should be 1920 into 160. So let's try. I have another banner. If I can load it, so I can do that, and if I would like to change color, I can do that. So let me just put it and let's publish this. So before publishing, it's gonna give you a message which is saying everyone in your organization will see this custom branding when they use Power BI. Are you sure you want to publish it? We are gonna say yes, published, and it's been done. So it can take some time to affect, and we are gonna come back over here later, but let's move forward first. The second last one is the data protection metrics. As I explained to you earlier, I have already made a video on this topic specific to this, how to create the sensitivity label, how you can manage them, what is the data protection metrics, and where you can find it. So where you can find it, you can see clearly it's in the admin portal, and over here you will find like what are the different sensitivity labels we have created for our organization in order to protect our data from unauthorized access. And there you can also see your dashboards, reports, data sets, data flows, and everything. Now we are coming to the end of this video where we are going to look at the featured content. As I explained you earlier, we promote our data sets or the reports or the dashboards or even the data flows so that we can make them certified one, and we can build on the top of that we can build some more content. For example, if I'm making a data set as my certified one, that means any user across my organization can use that particular data set and can start building reports on the top of that, because that has been already certified. So these are all the settings in admin portal. We have gone through from user metrics till the featured content in Power BI admin tutorials. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put down your comments in the comment section, or you can even directly write us an email. Power BI Premium. What is a VCO in Power BI Premium? And what are the front end and back end VCOs in Power BI Premium? You will get to know all the answers in this video, so please stay tuned with me till the end of this video. What are reserved capacities? I hope you have heard about many times while you are using Power BI that there are certain reserved capacities in Power BI. So what are reserved capacities? With Power BI Premium, you get reserved capacities, in contrast to shared capacities, where workloads, analytics, processing run on computational resources shared within other customers. A reserved capacity is for exclusive use by an organization. It's isolated with reserved computational resources which provide dependable and consistent performance for hosted tenant. For example, your own organization. If you have Power BI Premium, then you would get a reserved capacity. That means a dedicated capacity for only your organization. No other organization is going to share it like Power BI Pro. With Power BI Pro, you get a shared capacity. That means other organization or tenants can also use that capacity once they are going to require. But here you should note that the processing of the Excel workbooks, push data sets, streaming data sets, Q&A of Power BI content is stored in shared capacity rather than your reserved capacity. Even if you have a reserved capacity, but these type of contents are not going to share over there. They are always going to store in your shared capacity. Now let's discuss about the types of workspace capacities. As I just mentioned, we have a shared capacity and we have a reserved capacity. So now you know that in case of reserved capacity, no one else is going to utilize that capacity that is dedicated to a particular tenant or your own organization. But like in Power BI Pro license, you always use the resources from the shared capacity. So as you can see right now on my screen, the way that collaborating in workspaces happens, it happens either on a shared capacity workspace or a dedicated capacity workspace. So while you are working on Power BI Premium, you get a dedicated capacity or reserved capacity. And using that capacity, you can share your reports and contents with any number of users. It's free for other users. You just pay for the capacity. You are not paying per user. However, in Power BI Premium per user and Power BI Pro, you pay fee for per user license. And in Power BI Pro, you get a shared capacity. You won't get a dedicated capacity. And that's the reason that sometimes you will feel that the performance of Power BI Premium is far better as compared to the Power BI Pro. So that's the major difference between the shared capacity and dedicated capacity. Now, many of you have already asked me what is a VCO, because Power BI Premium is a capacity based license, and in that you have to choose a plan from A1, A2, something like that, or P1, P2, or EM1, EM2, EM3 like that. And those are based on the VCOs. So what is a VCO actually? Well, in this part, I'm gonna help you to understand what is a VCO. Ideally, a VCO is a virtual core represents the logical CPU available for your server, offered with a choice of hardware generations. So this is a definition by Microsoft Azure. However, I would like to also point out over here that a core is usually the basic computation unit of the CPU. CPU is your central processing unit. That means the hardware which is doing the processing of your data, because you are consuming a lot of amount of data. It can be small amount, but generally it's a lot of or huge amount of data that we are doing that. So as per our data requirement, as per the computational requirement, we have to choose our CPUs or vcores. So now depends what is your requirement. You can choose from the different plans, which I'm going to show you a bit later. But right now, just to understand what is a vcore, it's a virtual core. But as I mentioned previously, how much amount of data you want to process, and based on that you have to choose your vcores, and I'm going to show you how you can choose it. Now let's first discuss the what are the different types of vcores. In Power BI Premium, processing is achieved by a set of vcores divided equally between backend and front end. So if we talk about the front end vcores are responsible for your web services, dashboard and report document management, access right management, scheduling, APIs upload and downloads, and generally for everything related to the user experience. So whenever somebody is interacting with the report, dashboard, they are filtering, slicing and dicing, all those kinds of things, even the accessing or scheduling the reports or the subscriptions, those all are being handled by your front end vcores. Now let's discuss about the backend vcores. What are the backend vcores? Backend vcores are responsible for core Power BI functionality, including query processing, cache management, running R services, model refresh, and server-side rendering of reports and images. Backend vcores are assigned a fixed amount of memory that is primarily used to host models, also as active datasets. So there are many concepts about that how these actually works, how much you need for the front end, how much you need for the back end. So there are certain concepts which I'm going to explore in my upcoming video, not in this video. This video is mainly dedicated to let you know what are the vcores and what is the difference between shared capacity and the dedicated capacity. Now let's discuss about the capacity nodes. As you can see on my screen, there is a capacity nodes like I mentioned in the very beginning of this video. EM1, EM2, EM3, or A1, A2, A3, you can say. EM is representation for the embedded. For the embedded also we need these capacity nodes, and the license is linked with the Azure. So in terms of Power BI capacity for the premium is gonna be P1, P2, P3 up to P5. But here you have noticed it on P4 and P5, there is a one symbol attached to it, it's 1. So that simply means it's available only on a special request for very large model greater than 100 GB. So if your Power BI model is more than 100 GB, only then go for P4, P5 or A7 or A8. And in that one you will see the total vcores have been increased to 64 and 128. And as I mentioned previously, back-end cores and front-end cores, you will see it has been divided equally between front-end cores and back-end cores. So whenever you are managing your capacity on Power BI admin portal, if you have global admin rights or the Power BI admin service manager rights, then what you can do, you can go there, you can buy the license and you can assign from the vcore pools. So overall you will get 128 vcores in P5 or A8, and then out of that you can assign for a particular workspace or for particular node the amount that you want to do that. So currently I'm not gonna explain you how to do that, but there are a couple of videos online. If you want to watch, you can watch. Otherwise I can create another video on that if you would request me. So this is how it's gonna work. Total you will get 128 for P5, and then out of 128 you can use as much as you want. But remember that their licensing cost is very high. So that's all for the capacity nodes for today. If you have any more question and concern, you know how to connect with us. But before going further, before ending today's video, I would like to just show you how you can purchase these licenses. In my last video, I already told you how to do that, but in today's video, I'm gonna show you how to do it. So let's head over to my Power BI account. You can see that right now I'm in my Power BI service account, and on left hand side top corner you would find this button. Click on this and click on the admin. Once you will click over here, it's gonna ask you to log in into your account, and generally you have to log in with your global account permissions or Microsoft 365 global admin account permissions. Once you will do that, click on this billing button over here and go to purchase services. Now here you can find the right license for your own need, and over here we are going to search about Power BI. So type it over here and hit the enter button. Now you would go down and you will see this is the Power BI section. Over here you will see Power BI free license, Power BI premium P3, P2 and P1. So all are mentioned over here, and you can see I own this Power BI Pro license. So whatever you own, it's already there. And also you would see the amount that you have to pay. The starting amount has been mentioned over there. Like for P2 it's mentioned 9,995 USD per month for one instance. And also once you will click on this to the details, you will get to know what are all the terms and conditions, or how much you have to pay per instance per year and all the features. So for P2, as I mentioned to you previously, there are total 16 cores, and those 16 cores are equally divided between the front end vCores and the back end vCores. However, for P1 you will get only 8 cores, and for P3 you will get 32 vCores. So it depends on your size of your model. What is the size of your model you will get for those. And in general, you should also remember that you should only go for P5 or P4 once your model size is greater than 100 GB. Otherwise, you should stick to P1, P2 or P3 only. That's more than enough. But Power BI premium licenses are damn expensive, so be careful before going that. If your organization has a real requirement only, then go for that. Otherwise, no need to follow that. So once you decided over here, then you can click buy button, and then it's going to read out you and you can complete your purchase. Once you will complete your purchase, go back to your Power BI service account. I'm going back over there. So right now I'm on my Power BI service account. After buying that, you can just go to your admin portal, click on that, and you would come here under capacity settings. So here you will get your total vCores that you can assign as per your requirement, and based on that you can work. So whatever you have, it's gonna come here, and if you don't have, you can still click on this purchase button and it's gonna read out to you on the same page. And if you have purchased for the Power BI embedded, it's gonna appear on the another section. In this episode, we are going to discuss about capacity workloads, how capacities function, regional sports, how to monitor your capacities, and much more. If you are interested in this and you want to learn more, please stay tuned with me till the end of this video. And I'm gonna help you out to understand each and everything. So, enough all the talking, let's get started. As you can see on my screen, there are total 12 topics that we are gonna discuss today. In today's video, we are going through each and every of these topics, and please stay tuned with me till the end of this video if you really want to know each of them. Otherwise, you can also use the timeline on this video and you can select and go to the different topics as you like to go. The very first topic comes into this picture is the capacity workload. So I'm sure you are thinking about what is capacity workloads, how it works and all. So let me explain you what is that. Capacity workloads are the services made available to users. By default, Premium and Azure Capacity supports only a dataset workload associated with running Power BI queries. The dataset workload cannot be disabled. However, Additionally, workloads can be enabled for AI related services like you can see on your screen, cognitive services or data flows or paginated reports. These workloads are supported in premium subscription only. So if you have a Power BI Pro license or any other license, that's not gonna work. So only and only if you have Power BI Premium license, it's gonna work. Now, second question come into our mind, if we have this, how we can configure the premium capacities. If you have been on our channel, then recently I have published a new series that is Power BI admin series. In that I have mentioned each and everything, how you can configure your premium capacities, where you can look at them, what are the metrics and all. If you still don't know, I'll provide you link in the description. Please go and check that and start working on that. Each additional workload allows configuring the maximum memory as a percentage of total memory or the total capacity memory that can be used by the workload. Default values for maximum memory are determined by SKUs. SKUs are nothing but your stock keeping units. So generally based on the SKUs, like whether you're going for P1, P2, P3, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, please check the previous video. That is the video of this Power BI Premium series, video part 2. There I have mentioned the different SKUs and how do they work, what are the capacities or what are the vCores, everything you will get to know in that video. You can maximize your capacities available resources by enabling only those additional workloads when they are used. And you can change memory settings only when you have determined default settings aren't meeting your capacity resources requirement. So guys, if your capacity settings requirements by default which Microsoft has enabled you are not working, you can go to your Power BI admin portal, and there under the capacity management you can manage all those settings by yourself. But you should have a very clear idea what you are trying to do over there. That you can do either way, like you can even use the capacities REST APIs if you want to perform anything using the command line, or you can directly go to the admin portal and then there you will find your capacity settings, and over there you can manage them. Well, in this section I'm gonna explain you how these capacities are gonna function and what are the interactive operations or what are the background operations. At all time, whenever you are working using Power BI service, the Power BI service makes the best use of capacity resources while not exceeding limits imposed on the capacity. That means Power BI automatically manage everything, how the users are interacting with your reports or how the background operations are performing over there. Capacity operations are classified as either interactive or background. So there are two types of operations whenever Power BI report is working on Power BI service. Your interactive operations include rendering requests and responding to user interactions. For example, like whenever somebody is doing filtering, Q&A, querying, etc. While background operations include data flows and import model refreshes and dashboard query caching. So those are the two different kinds of operations that actually works whenever any Power BI reports is being rendered or something is happening at the background of that report. Over here, it is important to understand that interactive operations are always prioritized over background operations to ensure that best possible user experience. If your user is not going to get their best possible experience, that means there is no use of the background operations, no matter how many models are you are refreshing or loading or doing anything. Import models must be fully loaded into memory so they can be queried or refreshed. The Power BI service uses sophisticated algorithm to manage memory usage fairly, but in rare cases, the capacity can be overloaded if there are insufficient resources to meet customers' real-time demands. While it is possible for capacity to store many import models in persistent storage up to 100 TB per premium capacity, not all the models necessarily reside in the memory at the same time. Otherwise, their in-memory data size can easily exceed the capacity memory limit. And that's how you will get out of memory error messages. Beside the memory required to load the data sets, Additional memory is needed for execution of the queries and refresh operations. It's not possible for your data model to keep all the models or all the operations at the same time in the memory. And Power BI works on the X velocity engine, which is a memory based engine. So every data has to be in the memory, and Power BI has to manage in a smart way. Import models are therefore loaded and removed from the memory according to the usage. So whenever your import models are coming or going, they have to be loaded or removed from your memory so that there is always a sufficient space that your model can retrieve the data or user can interact with the reports and can render the reports without any difficulty. An import model is loaded when it is queried, that is your interactive operation, or if it needs to be refreshed, that is your background operation. So now the question is, what is eviction? Well, the removal of a model from the memory is known as eviction. It is an operation Power BI can perform quickly depending on the size of the model. Now let's talk about the regional spot. When creating a new capacity in Power BI Premium, global administrators and Power BI Premium service administrators can specify a region where workspaces assigned to the capacity will reside. This is known as multi-geo, that means multi-geolocation. With multi-geolocation, organizations can meet data residency requirements by deploying content to data centers in a specific region, even if it's different than the region where the Microsoft 365 subscription resides. Basically, if you want to place your data at a certain location, you can do that using Power BI Premium. But in Power BI Pro, you won't get this kind of facility. So generally, nearer it should be better. So for example, I'm living in Singapore and my data sets is also in the Asia region. It would be better rather than placing it in the US region. So always consider that while working on the Power BI Premium. Now let's talk about the capacity management. Managing premium capacities involve creating or deleting capacities, assigning admins, assigning workspaces, configuring workloads, monitoring and making adjustments to optimize the performance. In my Power BI admin video, I already discussed this and also in previous videos. If you haven't watched those videos, then I request you please go and watch those videos. Global administrators and Power BI service administrators can create premium capacities from available vCores. If you don't know what are the vCores, please check link in the description section. Now let's talk about monitoring. How we can monitor our Power BI premium capacities. Well, that you can do. For that, what you have to do, you have to go again to your capacity settings, click on any of the capacity setting that you have assigned, and once you will click, then you will get two options as you can see on my screen, management and health. And now you can monitor their health, like you will get over here the different statistics like system metrics, CPU utilization, memory usage, and so on. And based on that, you can decide what you want to do further. It is automatically managed by the Power BI, but also you can see if you want to assign more capacity to any of the metrics that you have already done that. The Power BI Premium Capacity Metrics app provides the most in-depth information into how your capacities are performing. And that app you can download from the Microsoft App Source. The app provides a high-level dashboard and more detailed reports as you can see on your screen. From the app's dashboard, you can click metrics cell to open an in-depth report. Reports provide in-depth metrics and filtering capability to drill down on the most important information you need to keep your capacity running smoothly. So that's how you can manage your all the Power BI premium capacities using this app. Because it's gonna give you all the layout information, which metrics, what is the utilization of that particular capacity and so on. Now we are going to talk about the large data sets and how to enable them. Well, As I mentioned you during the capacity nodes, that they are the different SKUs like P1, P2, and P3, and P4, and P5. And that also depends on the file size. So generally, if your Power BI desktop file size is less than 3 gigs, then you should use only P1. If it's less than 6 gigs and more than 3 gigs, then you can go to P2. But if your file size is 10 gigs, then you should consider P3, P4, or P5. So those are known as the large data sets because their size is large. That's how we are calling them the large data set files. Now let's see how to enable that. For the first, you have to create a model into your Power BI desktop. If your dataset will become larger and progressively consume more memory, be sure to configure the incremental refresh. If you don't know what is incremental refresh, I have already made a video on that topic, and that video link is in the description or you will find somewhere above. So please click that and check that out how to set it up. Secondly, publish the model as a dataset to the service. Once you will publish that, then what you have to do, you have to go to your dataset. Under the dataset, you will find settings option, and once you will expand it, then it has to give you the large dataset storage option. So in that setting, you have to check it. That's it. Again, in my previous videos, if you are following us on our channel, I have already explained how to do this in Power BI service. But still, if you have any doubts, you can just mention in the comment section and we would try to help you out ASAP. Now, large dataset storage format. So basically, Power BI provides you two options. How to store these large dataset options. So let's discuss about them. If you enable the large dataset format settings for a dataset, the .pbx file size limitations still apply to the file upload or publish. The upload size limit is unaffected by the large dataset storage format. However, when published to the service, with incremental refresh and large dataset storage format enabled, datasets can grow much larger than these limits. With large dataset storage format, the dataset size is limited only by the Power BI premium capacity. Now, how to enable this large dataset format? Let me just show you. You have to go to your Power BI premium workspace. In the premium workspace settings, you will see a window like this. Over here, the first option would be where you want to reside your Power BI dataset. You can choose the location, and the second option would be default storage format. So there are two options available like I mentioned earlier. One is small dataset storage format and another is large. So when you are expecting your dataset is gonna grow more than 10 gigs, because up to 100 TB limit you get in the Power BI premium per account. So over there you can choose over there the large dataset storage format, and then it's gonna store it automatically and it can allow up to 100 TB of space. Now comes to the incremental refresh. So let's talk about this briefly over here. Basically, in incremental refresh, what happens? We apply certain policy. Like just consider a scenario. You have a data warehouse into your own organization, and over there you are combining data from all the resources. And after that certain time period, again the new data is coming. So you cannot process or load the whole data again. So rather than that, what you do, only to process the latest data. And in the policy, you can define how long previous data you want to upload, like for the last 2 days, 2 months, or 1 year, or something like that, so that you don't need to load all the data again and again. Only the data where you can expect the changes, you are just gonna load that data only. So it would save you a lot of time, a lot of processing, and lot of computing resources, and that's how you can save your cost. Paginated reports and report server. So paginated reports are the pixel perfect reports. If any of you have already worked on the SSRS previously, those are known as paginated reports in Power BI service, and these are a feature of Power BI Premium. But nowadays in Power BI Pro, as a visualization, they are over there. There's a new visualization, paginated reports in Power BI Pro, that you can use it to create these reports. However, as a separate or standalone, these are being used using the Power BI Builder tool and Power BI Report Server. So Power BI report server you can buy by two ways. It's gonna come free with your Power BI premium license. Otherwise, if you have already SQL server license in your organization, then you can take it as an add-on with software assurance. So that means with SQL Server Enterprise license, you have to pay a bit more money and you will get software assurance, and in that it's gonna come as a bundle with the SQL Server. So those are the paginated reports when you need the pixel perfect like Excel kind of formatting, as you can see one of the report on my screen from Microsoft. So that's how you can use those reports. Generally, most of the organizations don't use them, but there are certain organizations who have the requirement to use those pixel perfect reports. They should print exactly in PDF or Excel and so on, so they can use it, and this is what it is. If you would like to know more, please let me know so that I can create more materials on those paginated reports. Now let's talk about the deployment pipelines. I have created a separate video on deployment pipelines. I'll provide you a link in the description section. So please go and check that out. These are nothing. It's just a way to manage your deployments into between dev, test and production environment. Suppose you have a report which you have just developed. Now you want to push it for testing. So from dev to test, you have to deploy that using deployment pipelines. What you will do, you will see the difference between the previous or the new report. If it's completely new, it's not gonna show you any difference. You can just deploy to test. Users can test it. Again, if they ask you to make some changes, then you have to make some changes. Then you will see the difference between the previous version and the current version. And if you think these are changes are good, you can deploy further and lastly in the production environment. Unlimited content sharing. With Power BI Premium, you get the unlimited content sharing, and by this, it simply says that you just need one Power BI Pro license for the guy who would publish the reports, because without Power BI Pro license, you cannot publish the report in Power BI service. So one Power BI Pro license is required. That is the minimum requirement. However, after that, when it comes to the sharing within your own organization or with the guest users, you can share your Power BI report to anyone without any license. They should be just in your Active Directory. You can share your report with as many as users you want. I think the limit is 2000, but I'm not sure, so you can check that out. Analysis service in Power BI Premium. I have created one video which was a part of DA100 tutorial. In that video, I explained the XML endpoint connectivity. That means the dataset that you have published into Power BI service, you can perform the read and write operation, updating the records, refresh of that dataset, and much more using your SQL Server Management Studio. So that works basically on the basis of XML endpoint connectivity. And in Power BI Premium, you can create the SQL Server Analysis models or Azure Analysis Services models, and then you can publish over there, and later you can manage them with the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. Not only this, even after that, if you have to manage your DEXs, measures, or you want to use the tabular editor, there are so many other tools available. You can use them and you can connect with your Power BI Premium dataset. And that's how you are going to manage everything over there. So if you would like to know more, please do let me know. Before you begin, you should make sure your organization's external collaboration settings are configured, such as you are allowed to invite guests. By default, all users and admins can invite guests, but your organization's external collaboration policies might be configured to prevent certain types of users or admins from inviting guests. If you don't know how to do that or what kind of settings are available, in my last video on Power BI admin tutorials under the tenant settings, I have explained this, but I'll also provide a link in the description section where you can go and check other settings. There are certain steps that we need to follow in order to set up this account. The very first is that you have to sign in into your Azure portal as a user who is assigned a limited administrator directory role or the guest inviter role. Make sure you have set up already your Azure account. If not, then you can sign up for a free account, but for that you would need a credit card. With the help of your credit card, you will get $200 worth of account credentials that you can consume at any point of time. And also, I would like to highlight that Microsoft won't charge anything from your credit card unless you upgrade your account. So during the trial phase, you can just use the free stuff over there. So that won't be a problem. You just need to log in into portal.azure.com and over there you can set up your account. But make sure you do this using your workplace or school email address if possible. And also make sure it's the same account that you are using to operate your Power BI account. That is very important. The second step would be search for and select Azure Active Directory from any page. Third would be under Manage, select Users. And fourth would be to select a new guest user. And lastly, on the new users page, select invite user and then add the guest user's information. That's all we need to do. And that's what all we are going to do today. So guys, the very first you have to log in onto your Azure portal. So I'm gonna log in into my portal.azure.com. And here I have to provide my account details. As mentioned you earlier, you should always use the same account that you are using to operate your Power BI account, and that's gonna helpful because it's gonna be in the same domain and you would probably have all the privileges that you need to invite a guest user. Now I'm on my Azure portal. I have already set up my account. It's a free trial account where I get 200 USD worth of credits so that I can utilize them. I can learn whatever I would like to learn. And for that, we need a credit card, as I explained to you earlier. Don't worry, Microsoft won't charge you anything from your credit card unless until you upgrade your account. Over here, on my left hand side top ribbon, you can see that it's saying upgrade from your trial subscription. If I'll upgrade this, only then Microsoft is going to charge me. And also you will get a subscription over here only once you will add your credit card details. Otherwise you won't get a subscription. So you need a subscription in order to create any guest user into your Azure directory. You can create certain resources over here, and very soon we are going to come out with a new Azure series as well, where we will learn Azure data engineering related stuff. That means whatever you are looking on my screen now, we are gonna learn all of them one by one. So every week I'll start to create new videos on Azure so that you can learn something new in Azure as well. So over here, our main motto is just to go into the Azure Active Directory. I can see over here it's there. If you are not finding it over here, you can even search it. But make sure you have a subscription. For example, if I'll click my subscription, you can see that currently I have this Azure subscription one. This is my trial subscription which I got it once I add my credit card details over here. If you want to create any more subscription, you can click on add button and there you can create a subscription. You need to fill out the details and you would be able to create it. But right now I don't need it, so I'm gonna go back to my home page. Right now we just need Azure Active Directory. Either you can select from here from your dashboard, or you can just directly search from here Azure Active Directory and you will see there is an option. Just click on this. Now what we are going to do over here, we are going to add a guest user, and in order to do that we need our guest user's email address as well. If you are logging on over here after a long time, then it can take some time to set it up. Now I can see that on this page I have user, I have guest user, I have group and other information. So we need to create a new user, or we need to invite a guest user. So I can directly click on this guest user. Here I have two options. Either I can create a user over here or I can invite. On this page you will learn it's saying create user. Create a new user in your organization. This user will have a username like this, BI Consulting Pro, because my domain is BI Consulting Pro. However, we don't want to create a user in our own organization. We need to invite someone external. And right now I'm going to use my own personal Gmail address to invite myself. So for that, what I can do, I'll click on this invite user. which is saying invite a new guest user to collaborate with your organization. The user will be emailed an invitation they can accept in order to begin collaborating. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna type over here my first name, then my email address. Make sure it's a complete email address, otherwise it won't recognize over here. Then you can again type name. After that, I can write a personal message. Whenever we are inviting any guest user, we can write over here a personal message to them where we can write something like this. So you can do this yourself. It's just a custom message. It's a typical example. It doesn't necessarily it should be like this. It's up to you what kind of message you would like to do over here. Not only one person, you can add that particular guest user in a group as well if you would like to, but I don't want to create any group. I just want to keep this user as it is. Then there are a couple of more settings over here, like block sign in if you would like to block, and if you would like to allow the user to log in on the basis of location, that also you can mention over here. For example, I can mention Singapore. So if that user or the guest user in Singapore, only he would be able to log in. And then you can provide some additional details over here, like job title. That's it. That's all the details you need to fill. Let me go through once again. First, you need to come over here on this page, new guest user, where you have to choose the invite user. Then we have to fill out the name, email address of the user, first name, last name. Only fields with this asterisk mark, you need to fill them. Those are the mandatory. Otherwise, it's up to you whether you want to fill other fields or not. And then we are just gonna click on this invite button. Once I click on this invite button, it's gonna send an email. And over here, if I'll click on this notification bar, it said successfully invited the user. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna log in into my personal email account and I'm gonna see whether I have received that particular email or not. So now guys, you can see I received this email from my Azure Active Directory where it's saying please only act this email if you trust the organization represented and blah blah blah, and I have to accept it in order to do that. So I earlier sent to myself as well to just test this account, and this was the original email where you can see I have this accept invitation as well. So whenever you are receiving or whenever your guest user is receiving, they have to click on this accept invitation. Only they can start using after that. Also, if you accept this invitation, you will be sent to this. So you can click on this whenever you are going to accept it, and then you have to accept everything over here. So once the user is going to accept all the terms and conditions, the guest user is gonna come over here, page similar to this. Now this part has been done. We have invited our user. Now the other things what we can do, we can add the apps as well or hide the collection. But our main purpose over here to invite someone so that they can view our Power BI reports. And for that now I need to log in into my Power BI account. So let me log in over there. So guys, this is my Power BI account. Over here you can see audit at biconsultingpro.com. I have logged in. I have my Power BI Pro license. And now I want to add that user for certain reports. I want to invite him to use certain reports. So what I can do, I'll go over here under my demo workspace. There are a couple of reports over here, which are the sample reports from Microsoft. So now quickly, if you would like to share the report or you want to grant the access to that particular guest that you just invited, what you can do, you can come here under the access and you can just start typing his email address like I did it. So now you can see Ajay Sharma 2061@gmail.com, which was my ID. So now you can see there's an ext coming and then biconsultingpro.onmicrosoft.com. We just need to click on this. We can add it as a member, admin or viewer the way we want and just click OK and add. That's what we need to do. And now you can see that my guest user has been added over here. So this is the way that you can add any guest user into your Azure Active Directory and then can start sharing content with them. So you can share your dashboard, reports or app, anything you would like to share with them.